Sorry about that, folks. But I wanted to talk about this. You see, with the announcement a few months ago that Chippendale Rescue Rangers, out of all the Disney properties, is going to be getting a live-action CGI hybrid film in the near future. Now, in the near future, it's really exciting. Don't get me wrong about that. It is truly, really exciting to know that. Don't get me wrong. I mean, to see these characters on the big screen in the next few years is going to be huge. Really huge, and if you're a longtime fan, worth the wait. But then I talked about what other series have the potential. Now, some people like Black Nerd and a few others out there have discussed the possibility of other Disney afternoon quality films, I mean, not films but shows, that could get that same kind of treatment, or similar to it. Now, some have gone out and said that this whole hybrid CGI deal, live action CGI deal, is running its course. Its course is going to run dry very soon. And that might be true. But you take a look what they're doing with Ninja Turtles. Take a look what they're doing with Ninja Turtles. And whether you like it or not, that looks great. It looks okay. It looks great. You know, it looks fine. Like I said, it looks great, it looks fine. I know some people might judge, might say, you're crazy the way that's up. No, it looks fine, it looks okay. And you take a look at how they do things with Transformers and how they've improved on that. And again, the list just goes on and on and on. And I thought about two Disney properties that I know could definitely benefit from a similar live-action CGI, live-action hybrid film. One, of course, is the 1994 mega hit, Goggles. Now, Goggles, and I'm sorry if I pronounced it incorrectly, but Goggles is something that has been discussed before. People have discussed this, whether it's true or not, of doing a live-action CGI Goggles film. They have discussed this. They have talked about it for years. And why? Because it has that look. It just has that kind of atmosphere and that look and that vibe that movie studios out there are looking for. That they're looking for to become the next big live-action CGI epic that they can make a series of movies off of and a series tons of money off of. I mean, just imagine the flock of fans of Disney's Goggles. Think of the flock of fans that would show up at every single theater around the country just to see a live-action CGI film. Imagine that. Again, like I said, imagine the reaction, because this show, this franchise has got a cult following, you know, that is right up there with Rescue Rangers and right up there with the other show I'm going to talk about. But it's right up there. You have conventions based around it. You have people dressing up as Goliath, Demona, Elisa, at other conventions, Comic-Cons. So, to me, I think this is one of those potential ones that could be great. And you know what? You got a lot of story that you can work with that was given to us within the span of 3 years. Yeah, you have a lot of, a lot of stories that you could work with that was given to us in the span of 3 years. And what kind of stories am I talking about? Well, heck, you have the Awakening movie pilot. You have the Awakening movie pilot. You know, how many people would love to see that come to the big screen, you know, in a live action CGI format? How many would like to see that? I know I would. How many would like to see Hunter's Moon, the season 2 finale, the original series finale that led us into the Goliath Chronicles? How many people would like to see Hunter's Moon on the big screen in a live-action CGI format? The Gathering, Avalon story arcs, Damona's origins, for goodness sakes. You know, how many people would love to see things like that? I know I wouldn't mind paying money in admission to see it, because it would be worth it. And you take a look at what Disney and any CGI company or themselves have done with CGI in the past. They've done a decent job, whether you want to admit it or not. Take a look at what they've done with Pirates, one of the more successful franchises that's based off a freaking ride. They're going on, what, the 5th, 6th movie now? And I own, what, just one? And I can end up getting all of them mainly for about $20, $30 at my job? On Blu-ray, that is. So, what is stopping Disney from making this happen? Nothing. And I think they know it. That's why they're dipping their hands, along with Marvel Films, into doing the Rescue Ranger movie. They could work with Jerry Bruckheimer if they want to. Or they could work with other studios to bring the Gargoyles live action to life. They could do that. But then there's another show, Disney Afternoon show, whether you love it or not. I'm a huge fan of it. People like Huey Tumor, Rowdy Reviewer, and many others out there are fans of it. It's got a cult fan base. It only ran for 26 episodes, but I believe being revived would be a huge, huge thing for it, especially in the live-action CGI department. And of course, I'm talking about Disney's Mighty Ducks. And I'm not talking about reviving the hockey film trilogy, no. I'm talking about reviving the animated series in a live-action animation form, or a live-action CGI form. And think about it. The characters would fit. I mean, think about what you could do with the characters and their personalities in today's world. I mean, think about it. You know, you take a look of how every time a Ninja Turtle movie is made, they always depict a certain character a certain way. Think about it this way. You could have certain love triangles or certain relationships, believe it or not, actually develop out of the Mighty Duck live-action films. You could. Live-action and CGI films. You could have it happen. You could take time on it, but it could happen. You know, and the stories would work great. I mean, you have just like Gargoyles, you would have numerous stories that you could work with. Numerous stories you could work with. I mean, for example, this one right here. If you want to, you could take an example off the first face-off. And I'm not talking, you know, okay, I'm not talking, of course, well, you could kind of work around it, make it a little bit more different, remake it, originalize it, if you will. But you could take the first face-off here, and you could say, hey, let's expand it, and let's make it darker than what it, and let's give it a little bit of darkness. People would go for it. They would love it. To see the first face-off at the theatrical film, you kind of modify it so it fits into what was sold as a VHS. Can't go wrong with that. Or you could just expand on it and sell it for what it was, and kind of modify and expand on what was already presented originally. Like I said, you can't go wrong with that. Be great. Be great, it'd be a huge deal. But not just that either. There's other storylines you could work on. There's other stories that you could expand. You can do more original stories. This had the final face-off. You want to do a series of films, that's great. you can end that series of films with your film adaptation of the final face-off. People would watch it. People would go and see it. Okay? You could do, I mean, take a look at the Rogues Gallery they have here. Probably the most premier, probably the most two premier villains that have been showcased more than several other villains are Dr. Droid and Astaroth. And think about that. You could use the first, if you wanted to do a series of films, your first film would be the origin of how they came to Earth, how Wildwing became captain, and things like that, and expand on it more than you did in the 44 minutes that you originally had. And then, if you want to, you could follow up by doing another film by introducing Droid into the mix. And maybe introduce him as perhaps an associate or someone that is going to team up with Dragonis. Who knows? Or just have him have his own individual arc. Who knows? And then Astaroth. Oh my God! Imagine one of the movies based around him, if not a team up of him and Dragonis. That would be huge. And then, of course, like I said, you could do the final face-off. You could expand on that. You could actually have him find Kennard in one of these movies. If not, let's say the final face-off, have him find Kennard, and that way Kennard leads in the battle or something. I mean, you could explore a lot of options with a Mighty Ducks animated live-action, a Mighty Ducks live-action CGI hybrid film. You can. There's a lot of options out there, and I think that's the one thing that a lot of people just don't get. I know a lot. I mean, I understand that, Disney, not Disney, but I understand there's a lot of people. Again, I understand that there's a lot of people that that are not fans of CGI live-action hybrids. I totally get that. I really do. Some are good, some are bad. But, to me, if there's one studio that can really capitalize on the remaining run of the live-action CGI hybrids out there, it's Disney. Whether you like Disney or not, it's them. They could do it. And not only can they do it, I'm pretty sure they can improve on it. Why do you think people keep flocking to see the pirate films? Why? It may be the same storyline at times, but you know what? Or the same similar plot, but they go because it's good. They enjoy it. Again, like I said, why do you think we're getting a 5th or 6th one? Why do you think Nickelodeon has signed on to do 3 live-action CGI Ninja Turtle films? Why do you think there's been signed? Why do you think we're getting 3 more, starting this year, 3 more Transformer films? Why? Because people love the series. They love these kind of movies. They got that, and if it's not the story element that excites them, it's the action. It's basically them sitting there and wondering, ooh, I wonder how this is going to look on film. If this was on film in live action, ooh. That's what it does. And this is one of those, and these two, along with Rescue Rangers, and maybe a few others, have the potential to be that kind of a show. That kind of a movie series. They do. Even Gummy Bears. I'll say this: Gummy Bears has that same potential. Set in medieval times. Don't do a Smurfs. Let me point that out. Don't do a Smurfs. If you were to do a live-action CGI Gummy Bears film, no. Keep it straight in Middle Ages. And really develop on it. Really go places with it. And again, you can have a series of movies out of that, along with Mighty Ducks, along with Goggles, and along with Rescue Rangers. Those are your potentials, right there. And I know some people might say, well, we'll just have to wait and see what Rescue Rangers do. Yeah, you're going to have to wait, but you know what the truth is? I got a feeling it's going to be good. Because there's a lot of fans that as of this year, as of last year and this year, and whenever, have been waiting 20, and by the time this movie comes out, have been waiting 25 plus years for this to occur. And now the moment will arrive. The moment will arrive. And to me, it's just the beginning. To me, it's just the beginning of what's going to be a huge, not a backwards leap, but a huge leap for Disney when it comes to trying to do maybe some new movies based on familiar properties from the past, or nostalgic properties from the past. I mean, take a look at what they're doing with some of the films, the classic animated films. They're doing their own live-action take on Sleeping Beauty with Maleficent. They're thinking of doing a Cinderella one. They're going to do a live-action CGI remake of Jungle Book, where of all people you have Scarlett Johansson voicing Kaa. I mean, anything's possible, folks. Anything's possible. And I believe Rescue Rangers is the first step to potentially these two properties, along with Gummy Bears, so 2 or 3 properties getting it. But I strongly believe, as much as I love Gummy Bears, I believe after Rescue Rangers, if not as we speak right now, Goggles and Mighty Ducks are being talked about right now. I guarantee it. Not just by me on this video here on YouTube, or on Google, or on my Google Plus, or on Google Plus, or anywhere. But I'm saying that you got executives at Disney right now, people at Disney that are working on that next thing to follow Rescue Rangers, and I guarantee it's going to be both of these properties, whether we like it or not. Whether we like the properties or not, it's going to happen. Now you might say something about, well, with Mighty Ducks, they can't really do much because Disney doesn't own the Mighty Ducks. Okay. Disney doesn't own the hockey team. Alright? There was a deal that was put into place, if I read correctly, that when the new owners of the Anaheim Ducks renamed them the Anaheim Ducks, took out the Mighty, and just renamed them the Anaheim Ducks, that Disney would still be able to retain their Mighty Duck name. So they could still do the Mighty Duck film, live action CGI film. They may have to switch sports maybe, or keep it in the hockey sport, or whatever. Maybe work a way around it, and I'm sure they can. But they could still do a Mighty Ducks live action CGI film. Alright? They can do it. They can do it. They probably have to change maybe city locations for the team if they do the hockey portion, but that's fine. Go ahead. But to me, those two are being planned right now. Are being talked about right now along with other titles, but those two are up there along with Gummy Bears as 2 out of 3 films being talked about to follow Rescue Rangers in that potential live-action CGI hybrid film category. I guarantee you, and I guarantee you this, should these come to life, should these become a reality, they will be worth it. And again, with Goggles, you got so much you could do with it. The story arcs they gave us in 3 years, you can do a lot with that. Gummy Bears, I'll even bring them into the category. You can do a lot with that. Mighty Ducks, same thing, but I believe Mighty Ducks and Goggles with Gummy Bears, with, and maybe even with Gummy Bears, but more so Mighty Ducks and Goggles are the ones that you could really do more with in the live-action CGI deal. Again, like I said, if you're going to include Gummy Bears into this category, if I'm a person that's coming up with a live-action CGI Gummy Bear film, I keep it in the Middle Ages. I don't do it. I don't pull a Smurfs. I don't pull Smurfs and say, okay, we're going to send them over into modern New York or modern Los Angeles or modern Dallas, Texas. No, you keep them in the Middle Ages. So anyway, that's what I feel. That's what I feel. That's my opinion. And I believe, Gummy Bears aside, because I still think they'll get one too, but I believe the 2 biggest properties, or the 2 other properties, Disney-owned properties that need and probably will get live action CGI films, maybe even before Gummy Bears, are Goggles and Mighty Ducks, because you can do a lot more with them, I think, than probably any other Disney property right now, besides Rescue Rangers. So, because Rescue Rangers already proven they can do a lot with them too. So, tell me what you think. Do you think those two are right on the button at probably being the next properties? Do you think maybe Gummy Bears is in that situation? But let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll talk to you later. God bless. Take care.